critical time. To your point, Joe, it's playoff baseball for them. This is
it's now it's
yeah, and they're throwing him all sorts of life preservers, and you better grab on. And he's one of them. He needs to be in the lineup every day.
Well, it's the season's really. If you're going to give Charrington's word salad any break it down a little bit, the parts of the team haven't really clicked at the same time. Like the starting pitching, when it's been good the few times, the bullpen was bad. The hitting was good. The bullpen was blowing games. Now the bullpen's great. Like we were talking a month ago when they were, I think the 24th was the last time they had that wild card. Around that date. It's like a month ago. And Majinski was the best arm in the bullpen. You could argue right now he's the worst arm in the bullpen right now. Mm-hmm. So they fixed the bullpen, but now that these lineups they're featuring great guys, great bench players for you, but you can't throw 4 or 5 of them out there. I would rather throw out Lau, Cruz, every lefty that has a chance against these 3 Cy Young lefties and say, you know what, you're a professional hitter, you're the dude, you're let's see what you can do rather than trying to do it the other way. But I feel like that's part of the organizational strategy more so than just the manager strategy.
I had someone here on social media say, well, nobody is talking seriously about the fact that they had all these injuries. Yeah, we are recognizing it. But then I said, okay, fine, I want to look at all these teams that have injuries. The Cubs, Justin Steele, he was their ace pitcher. He underwent season-ending surgery.
And
Dansby Swanson missed a lot of time.
And Boyd missed half the season.
And then you have Milwaukee with Churio out a month and a half. And Yelich out.
Never got Quinn Priester this year.
How about the Arizona Diamondbacks?
Harrison was out for Milwaukee, too.
Corbin Burns, A.J. Puck out on 60-day December. Ketel Marte's over a month. They have players. Everyone has them. So
I know. I would argue not to. I don't know that every team's had 4 big pieces of their lineup out for a long. Give me a team that's had four really good offensive players out for at least a month.
Dansby Swanson's out, but they've had 2-star pit, or at least one.
Yeah, every team has injuries. I hear you.
So I don't want to hear that that's the case because you have to overcome for it. It's definitely traceable to organizational depth. Well, and right now you'd say they have guys in their system, but there's not a lot of organizational depth to replace starters right now.
Well,
there isn't.
And this was an argument of yours all season long, so I give you credit on this. What the Cubs did was they didn't wait till the deadline. They went and got Peterson.
Right.
They replaced those starting pitchers because they knew they had a chance to win. They didn't mess around and they waited. And that was your big argument with the bullpen the whole time. Go get them now. Go get these pieces.
Of course.
Now, if you put the right set of glasses on, you can sit there and look at what happened to this Pirates team that didn't have a lot of room for error to make this work and say that they did a heck of a job hanging around as long as they did with the injuries they had, if you put those glasses on. But people in Pittsburgh don't want to throw those glasses on.
Not when the team's proclamation, you have Travis Williams from before the year, limitless wonder. Not when they go on the record and publicly state that it's playoffs or bust. Then the rest is details. The rest is excuses if you don't make it. That's it. When you go on the record with that, somebody needs to be held accountable.
We're looking in 2026 to make the playoffs, period, full stop.
Period, full stop.
Period, full stop. In other words, no excuses.
Yeah, and because there's part of you can sit there and say, like, nobody's had those significant, especially offensive injuries. But the flip side of that is, if you want to go from Pump's point here, their rotation's been healthy the whole way. They've had a healthy starting rotation the whole way. Other than Evan Sisk, they really haven't had a pitcher go down with an injury the whole year long. So that should help make up for some of that. But again, they're playing with razor thin margins, and haven't figured out how to play with razor thin margins. Again, another reason why I think maybe let's get some momentum here at the end, because you have to mold into that. Milwaukee didn't just magically snap their fingers and become this great team that's a team in the middle, a small market team in the middle that's just so dominant. Yeah. You have to figure your way into that right now. But, you make statements like that, you got to live with them.
I mean, they lost O'Hearn,
Griffin, Cruz,
and Horwitz for over 1,000 at-bats. I don't care how much organizational depth you have. You're not and Endy.
No excuses, though. You're trying.
Yeah, in the end, when you make that proclamation, you're right, no excuses. But if we're sitting here looking for reasonable explanations, why they wouldn't be
I
in
understand.
playoff
It's
position
part of
right
it.
now.
Yes.
That's definitely a huge
Absolutely.
part of it.
Give me
It's a
what
huge
order
part
would
of
you
it.
have? I'd have
But that's the
starting
reason.
pitching first, even over bullpen now, because how disappointed I am with the starting pitching. I would say injuries are a part of it, obviously. They don't have enough depth to overcome it. Fine. And there are long-term injuries to all guys who you counted on. But again, there are other teams go through the same thing.
I don't think many teams lost 4 players of that caliber for over 1,000 at-bats.
I would
And
say-
I'm not making an excuse.
No.
I'm trying to reasonably analyze the situation. They lost, at any given time, they were without a third of their lineup for 2 months. 2 months. Let's just take Horowitz, Cruz, and Griffin. Were just gone, and then O'Hearn was gone. I don't know.
O'Hearn was gone twice.
Now, you're making the case why they're going to keep Ben Cherington then.
That's absolutely why they'll keep Ben
Well-
Cherington. Although I might be giving you their case. I'm not saying I would because of what you guys just said, because that's why you have to build a cushion early in the year and win most of the games you should. So when stuff like this happens, you can overcome it.
You could argue.
Totally agree.
You could argue at the end of July, right? That this team had actually had overachieved at the end of July based on the injuries they had. Now, what's happened since the end of July till now has taken away all that grace. It's taken all that grace of that position that you kind of put yourself in, and I think it's going to be. I think it's going to really be, if this was Ben Cherington's 4th year or 5th year,
Yeah.
I feel like this case works. I don't feel like in year 7 this case works for him. I think it's going to be very interesting, and how they figure this out at the end of the season.
Well, and the other thing that has to be considered here, if you're them, if there is a work stoppage and you make a change, you're going to have to pay
that's going to factor
him,
in.
You're going to have to pay another guy, and there's no baseball.
That's going to factor in.
And that could affect managing, too, if they decide to
Of
just,
course. Yeah.
I don't think there's any way they get rid of Donnie.
Really?
No, I think Donnie Kelly stays. I think he's a lot of the good that we've pulled out of this is because because Donnie has rallied a team of injured players to put them in position, and they've kind of just puttered out and run out of gas right now. And this is like last year wasn't bad what Donnie
I don't
did.
see how he's rallied the team.
Well, he took a team. Again, we would agree to say at the end of July this team was in a pretty good position for all the injuries they've had.
But should have been about 5 or 6 games better, and because
Which
of
would have been crazy with all those injuries.
It would have been,
yes.
But we all acknowledge that Cherington didn't act early enough
True. And Donnie, I'm
on the bullpen,
on the
and they
Don-
blew 20 saves.
on the Donnie side of things. Also, though, like it's a situation where he's not in charge now. This is where we're going to get into another subject, right? The pitching is the biggest issue in this whole situation. That's Donnie oversees the whole team, and Donnie makes some of these decisions, but the pitching has been the most disappointing part of this whole thing.
Yeah,
It really has, and he's shown since getting these bullpen pieces, and last year he can manage a bullpen pretty well if the guys can pitch. They just didn't he was pulling straws until they made those trades with that bullpen at one point this season.
he's also made a lot of curious decisions, but as you say, I don't know how many of these decisions are actually his. In which case, maybe it doesn't matter who the manager is. Maybe it matters most who the general manager is and what philosophy the organization has.
I think some of the decisions are his, but the situations are being presented and like he'll I'm sure Donnie would always take ownership of them, but like the Crew's not playing yesterday, that's not his decision at all.
Skeens after 65 pitches, not his decision.
There was something seen on Skeens. There's no doubt in my mind there was something on those stats after those 65 pitches that they saw, along with how hard he got hit in that game, that they were like,
But
we aren't messing this one up. This is, as bad as it's been, whatever the case has been, there's no doubt in my mind that when you get these early hooks, they're seeing stuff that we don't see. And they're looking at they're looking at their iPad or whatever they're looking at. Oh my gosh, he's down 4 miles an hour this inning. He hasn't got over this. We've never seen this get to this point. Whatever the case may be, we got to take. And I think they do that with all the pitchers if they saw a huge drop off.
Right.
Like they saw it.
But that was a huge decision. That's probably not on him. But things like pinch hitting for Brandon Lau, playing Billy Cook because his parents are in town. I think when they were in Colorado, playing Billy Cook ever.
Billy Cook with his parents in town. That to me, I don't believe that was done. There's no evidence. There's no evidence behind that.
Well,
and I will say this. I will say this about the Billy Cook playing. If you're going to play Billy Cook, the biggest outfield, the biggest outfield, the hardest one to play in all the majors leagues is Colorado, and we don't have very good outfielders in general.
Including him.
Well, that's what he's. If you have him here and that's what he's known for, that's the game you're going to play him. Is one of those ones in Colorado. There's no. I mean, I played in the big leagues for 9 years, almost 10, and I did 16 years professional. There was never a time that you even thought about playing somebody because their parents were in town.
I mean, it was very unusual that was the one time he played.
But he's played him on some weird days. He's played more than I would have played Billy Cook, and Billy Cook's done a pretty good job. The game, like every time there's a weird lineup, I text Pomp and you and say, "This lineup is rough. They'll probably win today," and they usually win.
You did that just recently.
Yeah.